case for small values, if OEM is trying to take you for a ride with a very high prices, you can always go to Competition Commission of India with a case. You have to build a case saying that, sir, we have to depend on them, we have purchased so many missions, and having purchased these missions, I have to run it for my business. And now they have started giving me so many items, spares at very high rates. What to do? Either I keep my missions idle and have my business suffer, or I have to purchase it at the rates given by them. You have to convince, you have to provide convincing reasons to Competition Commission of India, and they will definitely intervene. In a competitive bidding scenario, biggest threat for efficiency is entry of. Now, keep aside OEM and PAC purchases. What about competitive bidding? What are the threats to the efficiency? Entry of unscrupulous bidders and for price is calculation. There are two aspects in competitive bidding. One is efficiency. So, unscrupulous competitive bidders, entry is to be regulated. And again, fair price is to be ensured by negating the case of capitalization. Entry of unscrupulous and incompetent bidders is addressed through various deterrent clauses such as the MD, SD, eligibility and provenance criteria. You all know if you are into the procurement. So, in respect of cartelization, in the pre-tender stage, cartelization is prima facie addressed through extended reach and fairly designed specifications and by avoiding unduly restrictive conditions. Got it? In a pre-tender stage, what drives you for a cartelization? You have to have an extended reach. If the e-procurement, the conventional tenders, we are talking because it is only competitive bidding process. I am talking in reference to procurement of goods, what side of. So when we are making conventional tenders, it is almost localized. Even if you publish in Economic Times and 4 newspapers in all corners of India, and still the response has not been that competent. When it is through e-procurement, because some two reasons. One is the tender box tender, people have to come and put their tender, all those things. Bid bidding, collusive bidding, people come to know about each other, bidding parties. So these are all the threats to capitalization. Through e-procurement, we feel that we could address the problem to some extent. Still not. In post-tender stage, how cartelization can be reasoned out? There are two tools which we always do. One is proximity analysis, the other is pattern analysis. You know what is proximity analysis? When you analyze the profile of the bidding parties, you find the proximity may be of same location, may be using the same user ID and all those things. Okay. The second is pattern analysis, how the price is quoted. In one case, what happened is, a tender was opened. It was again DCMS regulated item. There were only 2 parties, and to the surprise of the opening day, the same price was quoted. People thought it can be by chance, and again they asked them to re-quote in a sealed cover or to again electronic form. Again same price came. Can it not be considered a case of capitalization? The second time case will be, how can it be repeated twice, second time, the same price? So So what is the way out if cartelization still persists? Despite all your measures, you see, cartelization is a world problem. It's a world problem, not an Indian problem. It looks like a seemingly competitive bidding process, but still cartelization happens. Even in United Nations procuring medicines for supply in West Africa, it persists. So cartelization is the biggest threat for bidding process. Now if you look at the organizations like government companies, we are not talking about company, government. Any organizational activity comprises how it is done and how it is expected to be done. Say, that it means what is the result, what is the realized objective, that is ends. So is the procurement activity. That also has got a means and the result. Means is a process determined by manuals and guidelines, if at all you happen to look at guidelines and all that. Ends is the price, at what price the actual supply has been executed. In fact, government, it is predominantly process oriented. The process is objectively expected to ensure right source and price. That means if you follow the means, it justifies the ends. Process follow here, that's all. No matter what the result is. In private, the focus is more on competent source, price and timeliness. That is, ends justify the means. ऐसे खरीदा, timely हमको मिल गया, at this price I got it. So that is fine because the decision making is controlled by these two. In PSUs, unfortunately, because it's a company, both process and results are equally important. The process basically is trying to select right source and price, but competitive derived price is not considered selected. Whenever, if you issue a competitive tender, you derive a price. Is it sufficient to place order? If not, why? You issued a tender, it's a competitive tender, opened it and then you got one price, the lowest price. You continue to place order on it or do some exercise in house?
So you have to compare with the estimate.
You have to compare with the estimate, you have to compare why, because you have given opportunity, is it not reflective of the market price? You have given opportunity everybody to go through e-procurement, through paper, publication and all that. And then there are 10 parties received and you evaluated all 10 are equally competent and you open the price. And you find something, someone is in. What else exercise is required? Why so? It's reflecting the market. You have given opportunity to everybody to compete. Why do we make some in-house exercises? Again, whether what? Because there is some thinking in my mind, whatever I got is not really reasonable because of the cartelization. Somehow in your subconscious mind you think that otherwise fairly it is not you, the company itself is thinking that way. It's not you alone. So the process is not trustworthy. Are we accepting that my process is not trustworthy? Now LPP of self and sister procurement entities you take, and then you may also compare with price list, estimate. Yeah, you make a justified price of opening and the price, taking inputs from the market in case of works. Last sale price of a bidder in case of purchases, whether you take it into consideration or not. Some of the slides I am skipping because we don't have much of a time. So you will have to listen to the other time. In case of procurement methods, strategically decided one-time rate, running contracts, it all depends upon your strategy, how often you require. And the platforms are of course important, GEM and all that. GEM, works are not still there in GEM now.
Works are included, sir.
No, I think yet they are trying to include it somehow or the other.
I believe the maintenance contracts are included in the GEMS.
Maintenance contract, service contracts is there, works. There is a distinction, there is a overlapping also. Overlapping and distinction, what service and works, I think there is always some overlapping. In any procurement, what is first starting point is integrity of the NIT. Whether the tender document, the NIT is integrate or not. Transparent, I mean, fair competition, whether it is ensuring fair competition, unambiguous clauses. Divide of restrictive conditions, no inconsistency in clauses, visibility. Suppose divide of any restrictive conditions. Suppose if we prescribe a EMD of 50%, will you get offers? No inconsistency of clauses. When you carefully go through a tender document before issuing it, you may find some inconsistency. In one clause it was something written like something like this, and another type something. You have to carefully go through it. Once the rules of the game are published, the game is to be conducted as per the rules. Then it is like rules. It cannot be case like saying that the rules are framed up, the goal is scored. That can happen in private, but in process-oriented concerns like PSUs and government, it cannot happen. It always process have got an upper hand in the result. Schedule of requirement, estimates, all governing clauses are not ambiguous. No scope for multiple interpretations. Similar items clearly defined, eligibility norms. Clarity on splitting and clubbing of bids, splitting and clubbing of tenders. Unintentional होना चाहिए. The clubbing as well as splitting, they do happen in a financial year, but it has to be unintentional. Business officers, if you look at the file, you will just come to know whether it is intentional or unintentional. Easily. If I try to explain everything here, you may not be able to cover the entire subject. Bid evaluation, transparency, equity. Consider equity is that you have to give equal treatment to all participating bidders. And transparency is that you have to record the reasons whenever you are filtering out a bidder. Consistency, rule application to one party, other party is something else. It cannot be like this. Timeliness and no jumping of orders. Whereas in execution, no or minimum amendments, no and minimum time extensions. Payments, you always keep in mind that contract is for the mutual benefit. That I purchased it, I should have an upper hand, or I give it to the bidder's hands. It should not be like this. Avoid violation of queues. Do we avoid violation of queues? Jumping the order when making payment, even for a TAB. You don't jump the orders. You jump the orders. Is it okay if you jump the orders? But we do. The senior officer's bill is not early, but we do. Post-execution management, effective warranty management, this is what is most of the time perfected. Two things. The one is platform, that is GEM or your e-procurement portal or the normal tender, whereby we have designed the NIT well, that is. Whatever the back-end documentation, estimate preparation, unit preparation, all these things are proper or not, because we have not integrated into entire GEM or this e-procurement entire life cycle of the procurement we have not been able to integrate so far. So the back-end documentation which is still manually done, we need to have a careful look at. And again, front-end management, that is post-execution management, effective warranty management, management of performance and quality and time, that we normally do not do. Procurement objectivity, law of the land, it should comply with the law, relevant laws of the land, minimum wages whenever you do contract. Equality of opportunity, equal treatment and no discrimination. Very, very important concept in public procurement. Equality of opportunity. Always drive in your mind that equality of opportunity. Transparency, it should be self-speaking notes, clauses and no unreasonable discretion, uniformity of practice, consistent application of rules. No business perspective on procurement. I have just given you trying to give you an overview of what public procurement connotes. Now let us see what the business perspective on procurement. See, I have already what it connotes. Whether any action, explicit or implicit, can be a corrupt motive, as simply as that, for a business officer to look at. Now, what is the backdrop? Violation of the rules, procedural deviations, compromising equality of opportunity, extension of undue advantages, denial of rightful opportunity, consistency of application of rule or practice, loss to the company, unreasonable discretion. If somebody followed the rule in total, loss occurred to the company, can there be a business case?